Hey patrons, it's time for our February bonus tutorial. This month we're creating a cute grid illustration, and the topic for mine is all of the things that bring me joy. So let's get started. I had a request recently for an illustration similar to this garden herbs one, and these grid illustrations are really fun to create. So that's what we're all about today. All right, our supplies are a lot of the usual favorites. I'm using this mixed media sketchbook from Canson. It's got a nice heavy toothy paper, great for projects like this. I'm also using graph paper, tracing paper, and a graphite transfer paper. This one is Mona Lisa from Speedball. That's just great for transferring your illustrations. I'll also have a ruler, some washi tape, nice sharp pencil, an eraser, and a black pen. And today I am trying out the black liner from Moloto. I don't know how to say that. It's a good fine liner. I've got the 005 nib. And then I am using my graph paper to make a grid, a 3x3 grid with a total of 9 squares. They're all the same size. Just use the graph paper to your advantage to make your grid. And then my topic today is going to be things that make me happy. So I'm writing a little title across the top there, and I'm gonna start just sketching out little doodles of all the items that bring me some joy. So of course I'm starting with tea, and I'll doodle a little kettle. And what I want to talk about isn't really how to draw these items, because your items aren't going to be the same as mine, and we're really just practicing how to draw a little grid illustration like this one, like the herbs one that I did last year. So it's not about the illustrations themselves, but just about how to create a fun illustrative piece like this. And I start by simply sketching out these little doodles, and I take time to think of what thing might represent a larger thing. So for something like tea, what is a perfect little doodle to represent that? Should I do a kettle? Should I do a mug? For something like avocado, it might be easy, but what I'm doing here is trying to make a doodle to represent thrift shopping. So I'm doing a little hanger with a skirt hanging on it. And then here for travel, I am drawing a globe. So some of these more abstract things like shopping or traveling, you might have to think outside the box a little, and they're a little more fun really than just drawing an avocado or a hamburger or whatever your favorite foods are. Here I'm doing sour candy, so I'm drawing a jar full of candies. For painting, I'm going to do an easel with a painting on it. And when you're drawing these little doodles, don't worry about getting them perfect, because the next step is to take our pen and we're going to go over the doodles. And this allows you a chance to sort of change things up, fix little imperfections, think about what you like, add things to the little illustration, to the doodle, maybe simplify the doodle a little. So we've got a lot of steps here to sort of take this illustration from just a practice piece to a finished, polished illustration that you can keep in a bullet journal or maybe even put in a frame. So now what I'm doing is I've got my tracing paper, I'm tracing the grid, and then I'll start to trace my illustrations. And I love tracing them because, as I always say, we can keep what we love about our doodle and change what we don't. And tracing paper gives you the perfect opportunity to do that. And as well, what I want to do now that I'm tracing is move some of these items around. So if two of the doodles are really simple, I might want to spread them out and put something that's more detailed like the flowers right in the middle. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Because I traced the grid first, I know exactly where the grid lies, so I can just kind of move around, play a little game of Hollywood squares here, and just think about how I can place each item to make this overall illustration look the best. So this thrift shopping little doodle is going to go on the end now, and so on, and I'm just moving some things and keeping other items right where they are. And also thinking a little about changing some illustrations if there's some little bits that I think could be a little better. Doing the drawing on the tracing paper is the perfect time to make those little changes confidently. I'm also tracing my title. That gives me a chance to perfect it. And then I put the name, I guess, of each item along the grid line. So those pencil grid lines give us the chance to keep all of these titles straight. So whatever you're calling it, travel, thrift shopping, tea, all of those go along the lines. Then we're gonna take our tracing paper copy, tape it into the good copy, whether it's your sketchbook, your bullet journal, whatever. Place that transfer paper dark side down under the tracing paper. That's how we transfer our drawing. And then you're gonna take a sharp pencil, something like a mechanical pencil, and just trace over everything, even the lettering, even the words. And then we'll lift that up, carefully lift the transfer paper away, and we've got this nice light transfer. And it's the perfect time to just go over it with that fine liner, with the black artist pen, and just take your time. Again, you have one last chance to perfect these illustrations. By this point, you'll know the doodles really well, and that's really the best thing about doing all these copies with the pen and then the tracing paper. It allows you to bring your idea from initial sketch to finished, polished illustration, and to create this beautiful piece that looks great in a bullet journal or sketchbook. And that's what mine looks like, my happy things. I love doing these grid illustrations. It was a great request for another Patreon video because there's so many different topics that you can explore with this style, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, thank you for your support.